I wanted to talk today about the phenomenon of bringing dead actors back to life in films using modern effects and production methods. In my previous video, I talked about the short film Regeneration by Otoy and the Roddenberry Foundation. In this absolutely amazing concept piece, we see the Enterprise D saucer on Viridian 3 being readied for retrieval, as well as Ambassador Spock on top of the mountain where Kirk was buried at the end of Star Trek Generations. As you can see, this is an uncanny resemblance to Leonard Nimoy. This amazing likeness was apparently achieved using prosthetics and makeup. I'm not sure if any computer-generated touch-ups were done also, but regardless, this regeneration concept video is very impressive as a technical achievement, with some truly jaw-dropping imagery. Now, as I've said before, I think there's great opportunities with modern technology to bring back older actors to de-age them. For example, William Shatner could come back as Captain Kirk because of advances in the likes of deepfakes and AI and CGI. But I have to admit, I am one of those people who get quite uncomfortable about the idea of using modern film techniques and effects to bring back actors who have died. William Shatner is still with us, thankfully, of course, but Leonard Nimoy is dead, and therefore he can't agree to appear in a future film or TV show. I've been thinking a great deal about this over the past few days. There's been recent examples of dead actors being digitally recreated over the years. The character of Grand Moff Tarkin in Rogue One, created using a CGI likeness of the late Peter Cushing. It was very well done indeed. The actor Guy Henry stood in for him, but you have to ask, why didn't they just recast the role with a similar looking older actor? For example, in Doctor Who, the first Doctor, originally played by William Hartnell, has been played by different actors following his death. In the Five Doctors special, the first Doctor was played by Richard Hurndall, and in Twice Upon a Time and The Power of the Doctor, the first Doctor was played by David Bradley. So why not just recast Grand Moff Tarkin? Why create a digital likeness of Peter Cushing? But we have to ask, as a society, about the ethics of doing this. I don't want to condemn artists involved in this kind of work, who I'm sure are trying to come from a place of respect for the deceased actor or actors. And I know when filmmakers and studios do this kind of thing, they seek permission from either the family or whoever manages the estate of the deceased person, but that's still not permission from the actual dead person to appear in that particular production. We can't obtain that because they're gone. So is it in fact more respectful to simply not go there and let the dead rest? I want to reiterate, I don't have an issue with the likes of de-aging actors who are still alive. My issue is with the use of technology to recreate the faces of dead actors. Something about it just feels wrong to me. Now, it is complicated for many reasons, because the illusion of such recreations exists on a spectrum. Now seriously, think about it. Let's say you have a dead actor and you bring back the character they played by using a different actor who simply kind of looks like them. Fine. Now you don't use any CGI whatsoever. So, to give you an example, originally, the character of Dumbledore in the Harry Potter movies was played by the late Richard Harris, and when he passed away, the role was played by Michael Gambon. Obviously, hair and makeup are used on Michael Gambon to make him look the way Dumbledore should look, but there's no attempt to make him look exactly like Richard Harris as Dumbledore. It's already close enough, so it works, and the audience understands that the character has been recast. The attempt in those films is to make Michael Gambon look like Dumbledore, and not so much like Richard Harris as Dumbledore. And what I like about recasting the role of a character in this way is that we get to see a new interpretation of the character, and not a synthetic computer-generated facsimile. The new actor gets to put their own spin on the character, as opposed to simply trying to do an impression of how the previous actor played it. So hypothetically, where exactly on this spectrum is the point where we would have become uncomfortable with it? What if they used a lot of makeup or a prosthetic face to make Michael Gambon's Dumbledore look 20% closer to Richard Harris as Dumbledore? Would that be okay? What if it was 30% or 40%? What if CGI was involved to push that over 50%, 60%, 70%? Where do we begin to pass the uncanny valley? So on one side of the spectrum, we have just a bit of hair and makeup, but you can still clearly tell the actors apart. And on the other side of the spectrum, we have a sophisticated CG, or deepfake, or makeup, or prosthetics, where the actors are made to look identical. So where on the spectrum is it acceptable before we begin to become uncomfortable? I think it's when a certain threshold is passed and a perfect or near perfect likeness is achieved. There's also been examples over the years of actors who've died many years ago having their likeness used in commercials, like Audrey Hepburn in a Dove chocolate ad, or Gene Kelly in an ad for a Volkswagen Golf GTI, where his performance of Singing in the Rain is modified to make it look like he's doing amazing breakdancing. I just don't like this kind of stuff. I have a lot of reservations about it. I would not want my likeness used long after I'm dead to sell a product. There are other examples of the use of CG to create the likeness of dead actors in films, where it seems more out of necessity and a bit more justifiable as a result. You might still be uncomfortable with it, but you could argue that if an actor died during the making of the film they were starring in, that they would have at least wanted the film to be completed without them. So a CG recreation makes sense and feels more like a tool to help finish what they started. Two examples that come to mind would be Oliver Reed in Gladiator and Paul Walker in Fast and Furious 7. I think there is a case to be made actually for CG to be used to complete a film with the digital likeness of an actor who died during the making of it, because they did, after all, agree to be in the film in the first place. Also, it's a complicated issue because an actor could agree before their death, or put it in their will for example, that a studio has the right to have a license to use their likeness posthumously in the future. And I guess that's fine because the actor has consented to it. It might even be something that they believe will help to support their family after their death. But as AI develops further, I can foresee dead actors being brought back to star in films, and their appearances and performances will be probably perfect. And I think this is a very important conversation to be had in the coming years. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Thanks very much for watching. I'll catch you next time. Bye-bye. The Dave Cullen Show is made possible by you, my generous subscribers. If you'd like to support my work, head on over to my Subscribe star, linked below in the description box, and for a pledge of as little as $1 per month, you can help to keep the show going. I'm also doing one-to-one monthly subscriber chats. Thanks again. Take care.